With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu. At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked #1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years and #2 among public universities for employability. ASU isn't just ahead of the curve, it's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Chilluminati podcast, episode 299. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Mike Martin. Today, joined by the, let's see. Oh, shit. There it is. Amir Khan and Salman Khan of LA. Jesse and Alex.
Are those, brothers?
I don't know if they're brothers, but they are.
I hope they're not father and son. I don't like that.
No, they're definitely not father and son.
Are they movie stars?
Not father and son. They're Bollywood megastars.
That's kind of what I thought. Yeah.
In India.
Okay.
Yeah. They've achieved superstar status in Bollywood, known for their huge box office success out there. Their 1994 film End As Apna Apna is a cult classic. The comedic, like a comedy duo there. They had a little bit of a falling out, but they reconciled in the end. And they've done a ton of other stuff. There's a potential End As Apna Apna 2 happening as well.
Do they look as Country Mouse and City Mouse as me and Jesse right now?
No, they're rather dashing, actually. Here, I'll send you a picture of what they look like.
Country Mouse, City Mouse is like so good.
It is an excellent description. This is them.
These are they.
These are they.
Gatso links. We got them.
Always.
You know what?
They look like a couple of nice,
handsome fellas, right?
They do have nice like a City Mouse, Country Mouse vibe, though.
They really do. A lot's riding on the like handlebar mustache and Buddy Holly glasses. Yeah, but
yeah. That's got to be the city mouse right there.
Yeah.
I was hoping you were comparing us. This is the first time I've ever seen this gentleman, but I was hoping you were comparing us to the two dudes from RRR because those guys rock. I don't know their names, but those dudes slap.
I have not seen RRR yet.
Matthysse,
yeah, that's us.
It might be the single craziest 3 hours you'll ever watch. There is,
dude. I've seen some good Bollywood movies.
Just
there is so much ridiculousness.
Wasted on beer and watch it. Like don't do anything. Like get like shredded on Bud Lights and watch RRR.
Buy some chicken wings.
Get like
sit there and just
get nasty with it.
I'm trying to remember what movie I saw. It was like a cop movie that from Bollywood where he was doing like just kicking cars and shit. It was wild. I had a great time.
Oh man, what's the one that's like they fling the man on a shield.
Oh, and they like make a shield flower of man.
That shit's awesome. You know what? We need more of that in movies. I love that.
If you haven't seen the Bollywood movie Singham, go see Singham. That's what I was thinking of.
Gets what we want from like going to a movie theater. They understand. I'm just saying like great. They know how to make people in the room together clap at stuff. It's so tight. It's so tight.
They fully are like, it's a movie. Who gives a fuck about like physics? Let's just have fun.
Shall I address the audience now?
No,
I will.
You may.
Hello again, open-minded conduits of glorious internal will. It's time again to let go of what you understand to be the rules that govern this tangible earthly realm and embark with us once more as we finish part 2 of what is quickly becoming just the bareliest dipping of the very, very tip of our tiny pinky toes through the only mere surface tension membrane atop the giant swirling pool that is magic, as in the great power, as in focused will, as in magic with a K. And even more specifically, I mean magic with a K as in magic with a K as it exists in North America. Since the second half of this year on the Chilluminati podcast is going to be just chock full of topics that require some basic magic context. Does that make sense? And speaking of providing basic context and engendering a childlike sense of wonder, if you remember from last time, I got it out of my pneumatic tube message delivery system capsule that I've always had in my house since I heard about them, straight from recently on Karma the Dark World, and remembered that I love them. It was a pneumatic capsule straight from Chilluminati HQ. I have the thing set up just off camera. You can't see it. It's an archive quality automated page turning machine that I borrowed from the Vatican. I actually sent that back. I requested packaging for them. So their things have kind of calmed down at the Vatican, since last time we spoke.
Yeah. New Pope.
Yeah. So, you
got that Chicago in with it.
I'm finally able to return the automated page turning machine that I borrowed from them, in case anyone was wondering.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Chicago.
Yeah.
Just, the Pope contacted me.
Oh, is that right?
The Pope contacted me and he said,
what are you about to say?
He said, Jesse, wouldn't it be so nice? And I was like, God. Is that your voice now, Pope? And he's like, this is how all the Pope talk. And I said, okay.
Okay.
When you take on the new name, and he
it's
said,
like when you go on Jerry Springer and then you just sound like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, Jesse, wouldn't it be so nice if, let's just say, November the 1st in Chicago, if you the boys put on another show for me.
Oh.
And I said, Pope, I'll get on that.
Let's win one for the Gipper.
Yeah, he's like, I'm making the tickets available soon. I was like, all right, well, calm down.
So
what does he have to do with this? Why he has other things he needs to deal with in the world besides this.
He said he was a fan.
Yeah, he's a huge fan.
I guess.
Also, what's up with this fucking Pope making us call him by his preferred name? Bullshit.
Pope Bob? No, I call him Pope Bob.
Pope Leo.
No, I'm like, what up, Pope Bob? He's like,
Pope Bob is his real name, all right? Oh, fucking woke Pope making me call him by his chosen name.
And he wanted me to remind everyone to free up November 1st in that last week of October to be in Chicago to see us live. So just, put it in the mind calendar.
That's pretty good.
Almost like magic.
Yeah. The world is full of basic contradictions that confuse the mind and force us all to live in a constant state of cognitive dissonance. It's hard. Mm-hmm. But to get us through these dark times, sitting here on my automated page turning machine is, you guessed it, that's right, it's the official magazine of the 1987 Chilluminati Kids Course Summer Investigation Course at Angeles National Forest, Chilluminati Magazine. And anyway, this specific issue belongs to a kid named Katie, and it's dated August of 1987, in case you're writing a theory post about whatever it is that's going on here in the background. Furthermore, if you'll recall, the powers that be at the main Chilluminati org, with which our podcast shares a name and several staff members, requested that I, quote, indoctrinate our listeners with valuable thought forms to prevent decontextualization resulting from a proliferation of low-value media, such as portrait mode conspiracy videos, ghost footage shorts, and bad faith debate porn, using articles from this magazine as reference. And while putting that together, not only did I write a very plucky little script full of clever onion-like layers, but I also found, stuffed in between the middle pages of this issue, several arcane pages of a memo from an Agent A. Whitney Brown, seemingly from the Chilluminati themselves, who's also doing research into the nature of magic at some point in time, and which I'm just including excerpts from at this point because A, I think they're interesting, and B, I don't want to get into any more trouble with anyone who is above me anymore. So, in fact, along those lines, here's a quote from that guy for Jesse to read now to just get us in the headspace. Here we go.
Me writing this is magic. You reading it is magic. If there is any doubt to my power, I can demonstrate the impossible for the reader as you read across time and space. As I write this, I'm sitting near an open window at my apartment in Culver City. This dude lives in Culver City too. That's crazy. Who knew?
Right?
There's a light breeze as I type at my mahogany writing desk. I look to my left. There's a lamp on a table in the corner with a potted plant. Oh no. Oh no. Lamp creepypasta. I look to my right. And a 13-foot-tall purple slug with bright red compound eyes and thick slime dripping from its jiggling great maw wraps its whole body around me, crushes all my bones, and slurps up my broken form like spaghetti before I even had a chance to write it all down. So then, how did you just read it? And what if I told you I actually live in Burbank?
Pretty crazy, right?
Honestly, I'm
not
sure there's
sure.
some dude in LA who lives in Culver City that tells everyone he lives in Burbank. I'm almost positive that's a thing.
That guy, that sucks. I don't know who you are or why you're doing that, but all I know about it is there's a sucky reason behind that.
Well, I can tell you why, because his Culver City apartment, giant multi-eyed slug creature took it over,
Yeah.
and he doesn't want to live there.
Yeah.
I'd be embarrassed too.
I live
Bad
in Burbank.
roommates.
I can't imagine why you would okay, whatever. Point is, as always, I like to bolster the stuff we do here based off old publication from the 80s with all kinds of modern sources as well. So once again, shouts to Folk Life Magazine, LearnReligions.com, Atlas Obscura, the YouTube channel Esoterica, NewWorldWitchery.com, which also has a great podcast and a set of excellent books associated with it, which are like really quite good repositories of this very specific sort of folk knowledge. I'll include links for all the stuff in the show notes, but I mostly refer to their 3-part article on Appalachian Mountain Magick for this episode, which is freely available on the site itself, and also big thanks to Wikipedia.
I'm not gonna tell West Virginia how to make a quick buck. But if their tourism board started selling Appalachian Mountain Magick t-shirts, I'd buy one in a heartbeat.
I think it's pretty much tied right into I really do think it is in the tapestry of that region. I feel like it's living and it's alive right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, last time we learned all about how, in broad strokes, magic with a K is all about will and intention and your way of thinking and perceiving reality, and how that can affect other people's, perception of reality or whatever. And sometimes that can create tangible results. And to illustrate that in a simple way we all understand, last time we kicked things off with an article from the magazine about horoscopes. This time I figured we'd take it up one notch and start with a quote from an article called "Tarot My Gosh," which Matthysse will read for us now.
Oh my gosh.
And which I've only slightly edited to include more up-to-date references and things our listeners will more clearly understand, because the 80s were a very different time in terms of technology.
That's for sure. Tarot is a system of cards specifically designed for cardomancy, or the art of divination and fortune telling using cards, and have existed in some form in Europe since the 15th century. In a tarot card reading, there is a querent who comes into the reading with an intent or question, and a diviner who actually carries out and interprets the cards themselves. For more experienced practitioners, the querent and the diviner might even be the same person, but no matter how many people are involved, 11 cards are randomly chosen from the 78 card suited deck and arranged in such a way that the querent can reflect on their intent through insight into their past, present, and future. Sounds pretty cool, right, Katie? Well, after everyone pauses the episode and signs up for support the show at patreon.com/ChilluminatiPod. Go ahead, I'll wait. Why don't you find an officially sanctioned Chilluminati Summer Camp Shamanator, and try a totally twisted DIY tarot reading of your own.
So yeah, I guess first things first, get out your phones or pull up your browser and consider supporting us on Patreon. I guess. Just if the magazine,
like if you just want to do it, like
you have to. There's all kinds of dope bonuses on there to
it's
gorge
crazy
yourself on.
that website would exist.
Yeah.
At the time,
40 years ago?
If you're watching every episode of this show or listening to it on your earbuds and you're out of episodes now that you're caught up and you need to gorge yourself on more peak parasocial serotonin, there's tons of mini-sodes after every episode that just pile up into a big archive for everyone that you've missed. There's bespoke pieces of art, early warning on merch drops, including our new dope shirts we just put out at theyeti.com/Chilluminati.
They're dope. They are in fact dope.
Buy one now. But now let's shift the vibe a little. And because the Chilluminati asked me to, I'll shamelessly try my best and do some extremely amateur tarot reading for you boys to kick us off today using the classic, fully illustrated Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck from 1910. If you guys want to pull up your own copy of that to follow along with the art, you guys feel free to do that at home because it's a very standardized sort of deck. It was from 1910, as well as 1911's The Pictorial Key to the Tarot by A.E. White himself, who was a British writer, mystic, Freemason, member of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, which is a group that we'll talk more about later.
Also, shout out to the Masons who listen to us. Yeah. I know there are a few.
I've met you. I know you're out there.
Met you.
You give out good vibes.
I just want to say for the record to the Masons out there, my grandfather was a Mason. I feel like I have an in, so that would be, just hook me up. What are we going to
more evidence you're part of the deep state, Jesse.
No, that did not carry through the family. If I were to find out my dad was a Mason, I'd be shocked. Yeah. Shocked.
You don't think he's got it together enough?
No, I don't. Not even remotely.
Fair enough. But yeah, we're not going to talk about the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn till we're on higher levels of the Chilluminati educational magic course. So let's start this tarot reading situation with Jesse here. I'm going to arrange my windows a little bit. So
never pull out.
Never pull out. Who the fuck are you?
Actually, sometimes you definitely should, guys.
Yeah.
Just put it out there.
All right. I just got to arrange my windows. Okay. So here's what we're going to do.
Okay.
We're going to go into this with Jesse first. We're going to do your reading first. And what we need to do first is we need to go in with an intention. So we're going to do this reading. You understand basically what a tarot reading is, right?
Sure.
So we're going to do one. And I just need you to vocalize an intention for us before we do anything else.
How would you like me to vocalize this intention?
What does the future hold for me? Or how can I solve this specific problem that I'm having in however many words? Just something personal in your life that you'd like to get some sort of answer to or get some sort of insight into.
Okay.
Thank you to Factor for sponsoring today's episode. And listen, all right, if you're anything like I am, and I mean really like me, you don't have a ton of time in your day to stop and cook yourself just a full meal every single day. Between digging through conspiracy rabbit holes that have no end, prepping for episodes of Chilluminati, obviously, and desperately trying to figure out what the lights in my sky mean every single night, the last thing I want to do is chop onions and grill a steak. And never mind that I'm not super great at it. And that's why this season, I've been making things way easier on myself with Factor. These are legit chef-crafted meals that are delivered fresh, never frozen, and ready to heat in just 2 minutes. It's basically the closest thing I've found to having a personal chef who respects how weird my schedule can be. And whether you're chasing lights in your sky, desperately hoping for the universe to answer you just once, or just trying not to eat, instant ramen noodles every night, Factor's got you. And with 45 menu options every week, you can build a plan that actually fits your goals. They've got Calorie Smart, Keto, Protein Plus, Vegan, Veggie, you name it. And lately, I've been going hard on the smoky poblano chicken. It's so good. Their shredded turkey with green beans, also delicious. And if you need more than just dinners, they've got breakfasts too. They've got this chorizo egg bite thing that's been saving me from grabbing, let's just be real, the cold pizza in my fridge. I'm not the greatest with meals, which is why I need Factor in my life. And if you're even a quarter of I am, you clearly need it as well. So if you want to check it out, you can get started at factormeals.com/chill50off and use code chill50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code chill50. That's, CHILL50OFF at factormeals.com/same thing, chill50off for 50% off plus free shipping. Thank you again to Factor for sponsoring today's episode.
Will my next big project make me money?
Okay. So you just want to know.
I got you. Hang on. The cards say fuck no.
So, okay. Okay. So let's just say you're working on a project, and I really want you to like engage with this like intent just for a minute, like while I do this process. You're working on a project, you're putting effort into it, you want to know what's going to happen, you want to know how it's going to go. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find out your signifier, and we're going to write what's going to happen with my new project, and we're going to understand everything about that, and we're just going to focus on it. And I'm gonna like deal this right now. Okay, so great. So we got a little set here ready to go. I'm going to walk us through this one at a time. We're going to start with the significator, which is you. Okay, so this is like sort of like the you that is your sort of avatar in this reading is.
I'm expecting either the Fool or the Hanged Man. I'm not sure which, but one of the two for sure.
What you are is the 9 of Cups, which is. I'm going to read you the actual sort of description of this card. A goodly personage has feasted to his heart's content. An abundant refreshment of wine is on the arched counter behind him, seeming to indicate that the future is also assured. The picture offers the material side only, but there are other aspects. And this you can, divine to mean things like contentment, concord, like physical, like this is a success advantage. Like this is a positive future. I mean, already kind of a spooky thing for it to choose as your significator card in a way based on the intent that you made, but also I think a good one. I don't know if it means that you're here with that intent or that's who you are as a person. It's not clear, but just understand that this probably bodes well, and it means maybe at the very least that we're locked in. You know what I mean? Like we're locked in and ready to rock here. So now we're going to go over to the first card, which is the card that covers you. This is the card that is going to kind of like cast its vibe over this whole situation and everything else that happens.
Okay.
So this is going to kind of be the sort of general vibe check card. Let's call it. Right. And that card for you is the King of Cups. Okay. The King of Cups holds a short scepter in his left hand and a great cup in his right. His throne is set upon the sea. On one side, a ship is riding, and on the other, a dolphin is leaping. The implicit is that the sign of the cup naturally refers to water, which appears in all court cards. This means fairness, man of business or law or divinity. This is like a just king. This is like a responsible person who is there to help you. This is advantageous to you. It also represents things like equity and art and science and scientists and lawyers and artists, which is good, I think, assuming, this project that you're in is like in the same field as the other projects that you're into. It literally is written in here. Creative intelligence is written into this card. So that's the King of Cups.
I like the ass kissing. This is good.
This is an ass kicking. This is ass kissing. This is your
is the universe.
This is your own reading. Yeah.
I'm expecting a turn, because so far we've got me and then the aura around me.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for the actual project information, because so far, I know I got my shit together, and I'm very aware that I'm a creative assembly genius. However, with that said, I'm still concerned about this project that is costing me a lot of money.
Okay, so let's see. So let's see what we have next. So the second card is on the other side, and this card crosses you, which means that it's going to be the nature. So the covers card is like helping you. The king is there with you, casting his vibe over this. This is the character of your opposition. This is the vibe of what's against you, let's say.
Right. So this is one of those like TikTok things where I get to pick 3 Avengers to protect me, but the rest are coming for me. Right. So this is that guy. This is the rest.
Yes.
Who's coming for me?
This is the magician. The magician is a youthful figure in the robe of a magician. But I will say this is the magician reversed. This is a youthful figure in the robe of a magician, having the countenance of divine Apollo, with smile of confidence and shining eyes. Above his head is the mysterious sign of the Holy Spirit, the sign of life, like an endless cord, which is an infinity sign, by the way, forming a figure 8 in a horizontal position. About his waist is a serpent creature, a serpent cincture, the serpent appearing to devour its own tail. Again, same symbol. This is familiar to most as a conventional symbol of eternity. But here, it indicates more, especially the eternity of attainment in the spirit. And remember, this is for the normal magician.
Well, I was about to say, what's the reverse or flip?
We'll get there. In the magician's right hand is a wand raised toward heaven, while the left hand is pointing to the earth. This dual sign is known in very high grades of the instituted mysteries. It shows the descent of grace, virtue, and light, drawn from things above and derived to things below. The suggestion throughout is therefore the possession and communication of powers and gifts of the spirit, right? It's the magician, obviously. On the table are the 4 tarot symbols, the cup, the sword, all the different symbols signifying elements of natural life, which are things on a table to him, if you want to think about it that way. Just showing again more of his mastery. And he adapts them as he wants. Beneath are roses and lilies, and they are garden flowers to him. You know what I'm saying? They're beautiful flowers, but they're just under him. Mm-hmm. Divine motive, reflecting in God. That's the magician, which I think as a character of your opposition would be kind of scary. But let's see what the magician reversed means, which means struggle to see progress, struggle to see the potential paying off, feeling disconnected from your personal power and your personal magician. It's the opposite of the magician. The magician is a spiritual conduit. And so the character of what's opposing you seems to be maybe your own perception of yourself as not having the juice, or finding out that the people that you arranged in your giant 9 of Cups situation are not paying off in the way that they should be. Let's say that. That's like a pretty decent reading of that in reverse, right? So now let's go to see the next card. The next card is the card that is above you, and this crowns you. Okay, this represents your aim, or your sort of your morals in this situation, as one way of looking at it, or as like what you like your ultimate potential. This represents like the crown. It's like what's above you. It's like what you have to rise to. What the potential is of your operation, or where you're headed. It's like the character of your success if you succeed, right?
Okay.
That card for you is the Hermit.
Awesome.
Yeah. This is
I'm sorry. You succeed and you become homeless. I'm sorry, man.
You become a hermit.
the variation
living
from
in the woods. You
convention-
become Appalachian Mountain Magic Man.
Oh, I'm here for that.
So this says the variation from the conventional models in this card is only that the lamp is not enveloped partially in the mantle of its bearer, who blends the idea of the Ancient of Days with the light of the world. It is a star which shines in the lantern, with which the hermit's holding. I've said that this is a card of attainment. And to extend this conception, the figure is seen holding up his beacon on an eminence, as in, look what I have in my hands. Therefore, the hermit is not, as Coeur de Gibelin explained, a wise man in search of truth and justice, nor is he, as a later explanation proposes, an especial example of experience. His beacon intimates that where I am, you may also be. It is a card which is understood quite incorrectly when it is connected with the idea of occult isolation as the protection of personal magnetism against admixture. Do you understand what it means?
No.
Admixture is like a mix, a mixin of, like like cookie dough ice cream is like vanilla ice cream with an admixture of cookie dough. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So it's like another way of thinking about it incorrectly is the idea of yourself as isolated from outside influence, right?
Right. That's an incorrect way of viewing it. So what's the correct way to view it?
In true Martinism, the significance of the term philosophe inconnu was of another order. It did not refer to the intended concealment of the instituted mysteries, much less of their substitutes, but, like the card itself, to the truth that the divine mysteries secure their own protection from those who are unprepared. So I think what crowns you here is sort of access to the sort of aspirational sort of activation that anybody could get, sort of a personal satisfaction that is not selfish, but inspirational. Like something that, the type of success that people would see and be like, wow, he really did something good for all of, like, not just himself, but he's showing us that there is light at the end, kind of.
That is how I feel about video games. So yeah. Really going to change the world with this one. Very excited. Thank you.
Yeah. The truth is that the divine mysteries secure their own protection from those that are unprepared. You feel me?
Okay.
And that's the character of what your success will look like.
I also would have settled for you become so successful, you leave society behind and go live as a hermit.
That's the opposite of what the hermit means.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. That's what the whole point of this reading was. So fourth card, this is below you. This means beneath you. This is the foundation of the situation. This is what you're built on. This is what is already sort of what you have. This is what you have going for you, or what you just got, how you got to here with, what you got to here with. This is, your just recent previous circumstances.
Okay.
And that card for you is the 5 of Wands. A posse of youths who are brandishing staves, as if in sport or strife.
That's Jesse, always surrounded by a posse
of youths.
It is mimic warfare, and hereto corresponds the divinatory meanings. Imitation, as for example, sham, fight, but also the strenuous competition and struggle of the search after riches and fortune. In this sense, it connects with the battle of life. Hence, some attributions say it is a card of gold, gain, opulence. I think you could also see it maybe as some kind of success based on nothing, just like good fortune, like sort of like
a nepotism.
I like, this is like just me kind of weighing in on this myself, but I get the feeling that, there's also this, it says mimic warfare, sham fight, but also success. I feel like it means something along the lines of like, you're coming from a place of security based on something that doesn't seem necessarily like based on excellence or anything. It could just be, dumb luck or something that you don't see the path to how you got there, but that is nevertheless, something that you can stand on that is now, starting to be less. And now we're going into this new project, let's say, right? So let's say that. And for the 5th card, how does that feel for you?
Fine. So far I'm just absorbing.
Are you finding things that these things kind of represent in your mind? Like without,
of course. I think that's the brilliance of tarot cards is even if it's all nonsense, your mind interprets like what you just said. You can find a spot to fit it in with your past or, what you're going up against. Yeah.
I kind of felt like the horoscopes that we did last week were kind of bold. I kind of felt like they were kind of like hardcore. So I feel like this is connecting a little harder.
They were hyper specific.
Yeah. I feel like, so the 5th card is the card that is, behind you. So it's to your right, which means, okay. This is similar to the previous one. The The fourth one is the one that's beneath you, that you're built on. The fifth one is the one that's now done. That's no longer, that's passing into past. All right. So the five of staves is about a situation that you're in that you feel like maybe you just have found yourself in that's very fortunate, or something like that. And this other one is a situation that you are now exiting. And this is in your case, the 8 of Pentacles reversed. This is an artist in stone at his work, which he exhibits in the form of trophies on the card, which are kind of like circular sort of creations with star symbols on them. The meanings of this card normally are work and employment and commission, craftsmanship, skill in craft, business, perhaps, in the early stages of business, like prep business, but reversed, it means vanity, voided ambition, exaction, cupidity, skill in the mind turning to cunning or intrigue, some sort of, less positive situation having to do with work. Do you guys know what cupidity means?
No.
Cupidity means like greed, for possessions. So like wanting to have stuff. So like sort of unhealthy reasons for working hard.
Okay.
Let's say kind of bad, like, voided ambition. Like I said, vanity. I got to bust my ass because I'm motherfucking Jesse Cox, or I need that Lambo stat. Like, let's hustle, baby. Whatever, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it means, in its reverse. And that type of mindset, whether it's in your own self or someone around you or whatever, right? I'm not trying to say that's you. I'm just saying whatever it is, whatever that influence is, it's behind you now. Whatever you think that is, this is that. That's number 5. Number 6 is before, which means this is the one that's facing you, that you're facing. Let's say this is in front of you. This is the road ahead and how you're going to travel into the future, let's say. And that is the 9 of Wands. The figure leans upon his staff and has an expectant look, as if awaiting an enemy. Behind are 8 other staves, erect, in orderly disposition, like a palisade.
You have a lot of magic in yours. A lot of wands and wizards.
Yeah. This
Drunk wands and wizards because they got them cups.
This is crazy because
right.
I pulled a fake tarot reading for you yesterday, Jesse. To test this method that I want to do for the show.
Mm-hmm.
And I pulled this same card in this same position. This means strength in opposition. If attacked, the person will meet an onslaught boldly, and that your build shows that you may provide a formidable antagonist. Delay, suspension, adjournment ahead. That's the road ahead is going to be faced with formidable opponents. How about that?
Right. Like Hell's Kitchen. Got to take on the best.
But
I don't want any scrubs. I got to take on the best. Now, and I assume you mean in armed combat, right?
But that could be you. That could also be you. That could be, because I think the 9 of Wands is you bulking up. So maybe the road ahead is, maybe what it's saying is, rather than you facing tough opponents, maybe what it's saying is, get ready to face tough opponents ahead. Attack if you're attacked. Meet your challenge.
Do you guys think, is this like, are we going to get some supplement brand deals? Can I want to get some shots?
You want to grow your brain? You want to swell your brain?
Oh, I mean, yeah, brain.
Yeah.
Yep.
You want to hang brain?
Yes.
You want to hang? No.
I don't want to get bulked up, but I also want alpha testosterone pills, and I want those. And then I want what's that honey That like,
Oh,
his
Manuka
sisters are
honey?
like, you got to get that good honey.
You need the Manuka honey. Yeah.
We're gonna watch his character arc go from Jesse to like extremely angry alpha sigma male who does a podcast about how to own women.
Well, listen, here's what I want to say. Here's what I want to say.
Alpha sigma
Here's what I
male
want to say.
podcast.
No, my
Don't get
sigma
it twisted.
grind is I want to be owned by ladies.
Don't
beta. You want to be in beta?
Don't
No, whoa.
don't get it twisted.
I want
Don't
to be
get
a
it
kept
twisted.
man.
You guys are getting it twisted. Don't get it twisted. This strength is on display now. This is strength that you have now. This is not something that you need to get. This is like, use your strengths, wield the strengths that you have. It doesn't have to be brawn. It just has to be square up and go toe to toe with your opponents. I think.
Oh, like the title song for Star Trek Enterprise.
Yeah. I think this is characterizing your obstacles if it's reversed more. I think when it's right side up like this, I think what it's saying is the path ahead is strewn with days of squaring up and fucking,
Squaring up and fucking.
big boy mode, walking out there with your chest up. Let's call it that.
Okay.
Brain out, chest up.
Brain out, chest up. Next one is the 7th card. This is the operation. This is the self card. Okay. This is about the significator. This is about you, and your vibe in this, right? The road ahead is more about the project and how you need to be with regard to the project. But this one is about you. And this is the lovers reversed.
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu. At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked #1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years and #2 among public universities for employability. ASU isn't just ahead of the curve. It's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
The sun shines in the zenith, and beneath is a great winged figure with arms extended, pouring down influences. In the foreground are 2 human figures, male and female, unveiled before each other as if Adam and Eve when they first occupied the paradise of the earthly body. Behind the man is the tree of life, bearing 12 fruits, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil is behind the woman. The serpent is twining around it. The figures suggest youth, virginity, innocence, and love before it is contaminated by gross material desire. This is in all simplicity the card of human love, here exhibited as part of the way, the truth, and the life. It replaces by recourse to first principles the old card of marriage, which I have described previously, and the later follies which depicted a man between vice and virtue. In a very high sense, the card is a mystery of the covenant and Sabbath, right? So what is the lovers reversed?
About to ask, what is reversed?
Yeah, what is lovers reversed in
Black Sabbath.
in a personal sense? It means
Let me get my guitar.
challenges and disharmony in personal relationships, romantic, familial, or professional. So is this a negative thing? Possibly. Is it saying that's what's ahead? Maybe. But it might be saying that's how you got to be right now. You know, if you're looking at a situation where you don't believe that, you know, the road that you took to get here is necessarily the right road and that you got here anyway, you know, and you have relationships that you've built out of personal reasons, you know, maybe it's time to be less personal in those relationships right now. You know what I mean? Maybe it's not about you're going to fail. Maybe it's about, you know, time to kill that bleeding heart for a minute, you know, could be that. The suggestion in respect to the woman is that she signifies that attraction towards the sensitive life, which carries within it the idea of the fall of man. But she is rather the working of a secret law of providence than a willing and conscious temptress. It is through her imputed lapse that man shall arise ultimately, and only by her can he complete himself. So if you reverse that, it's like actually the love path is not the path that's working for you right now, and being cold is. And remember, this is about you in this project, right? This is not about your life. This is about you in this
isn't
project.
a love life one. This is a project one.
This is about the lovers in terms of your project.
Right. Guys, I've been meaning to say,
yeah,
I bring so many pink hoodies to this podcast. I think I should get 20, 30% more. Just saying.
Wow. Oh my God. Holy shit.
It's a hard
In fact,
bargain.
I feel like I should let you know I bought all the stock in Chilluminati Inc. and I run everything now.
Oh,
you will be
shit.
let go.
wow.
I'm so
You're
sorry.
the other end of the tube?
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
We're his opponents trying
You're
to
the
stop
tube
him.
guy?
He's trying to stop me from growing the show to become
God
just an
damn
excuse to pick up women. I've been trying so hard.
We're the staves, bro? We're just your staves, bro?
All I wanted to do was make a series of podcasts in order to get laid, and I felt like it was a smart plan until you guys ruined
You
it.
staved us up. All right. The 8th card is your house. This is the environment and the tendencies at work therein, which have an effect on the matter. For instance, your position in life, the influence of immediate friends and so forth, your situation.
God, I hope this is the tower. That'd be badass.
It's the page of wands.
Oh, all right.
More wands, dude. Just wands everywhere.
Just penises everywhere. In a scene similar to the former.
Those youths.
Those staves and
Those
wands.
erect youth.
In a scene similar to the former, a young man stands in the act of proclamation. He is unknown but faithful, and his tidings are strange. Dark young man, faithful, a lover, an envoy, a postman. Beside a man, he will bear favorable testimony concerning him. A dangerous rival, if followed by the Page of Cups. He has the chief qualities of his suit. He may signify family intelligence. So, a
Your house
trusted,
is intelligent.
faithful envoy is in your house. And he has favorable testimony for you. Or you have something nice to say about him.
I'm assuming when you say house, you don't mean my actual apartment.
Not your home. Your house is like your sitch. Your house is like
yeah.
your work situation in your world.
Right.
There is someone, a dark young man, a faithful dark young man, an envoy and postman who is in your house right now. That's what it's telling you. So that's your house.
Okay.
There's only 2 cards left. And one of them's a biggie. The 9th one is your hope card. This is your hopes and fears in the matter. This is you get what this is.
Yeah.
This is the Knight of Swords. He's riding in full course as if scattering his enemies. In the design, he is really a prototypical hero of romantic chivalry. He might also be Galahad, whose sword is swift and sure because he is clean of heart. This means skill. This means bravery, capacity, defense, address, enmity, wrath, war, destruction, opposition, resistance, ruin. There is therefore a sense in which the card signifies death, but it carries this meaning only in its proximity to other cards of fatality. So that's not really what's going on here. This is more about ass-kicking big boys. And this is your hopes and dreams.
You're hoping to kick some big boys.
It's pretty clear what you want to happen here with this new project.
Sure.
I feel like. And finally, the last card, possibly the most important card of the whole thing, the 10th card. This is the outcome. This is it. This is the one. This is the one that we want to.
So 2026, Jesse Cox.
This is the one we want to think about the most in this video.
Okay.
This is the moon reversed. The distinction between this card and some of the conventional types is that the moon is increasing on what is called the side of mercy to the right of the observer. It has 16 chief and 16 secondary rays coming out of it. The card represents life of the imagination apart from life of the spirit. The path between the towers is the issue into the unknown. The dog and wolf are the fears of the natural mind in the presence of that place of exit when there is only reflected light to guide it. The last reference is a key to another form of symbolism. The intellectual light is a reflection, and beyond it is the unknown mystery which it cannot show forth. It illuminates our animal nature, types of which are represented below: the dog, the wolf, and that which comes up out of the deeps, the nameless and hideous tendency which is lower than the savage beast. It strives to attain manifestation, symbolized by crawling from the abyss of water to the land, but as a rule, it sinks back whence it came. The face of the mind directs a calm gaze upon the unrest below. The dew of thought falls. The message is, peace, be still, and it may be that there shall come a calm upon the animal nature, while the abyss beneath shall cease from giving up form. That's the moon. But the moon reversed is a totally entirely different situation. It is illusion, fear, and anxiety. Intuition, confusion, self-deception. It could mean, what do you call it? Imposter syndrome. It could mean confusion. It could be negative.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
And that's the reversed version?
Yeah, the reversed version is the moon reversed. Dreams become nightmares and the imagination runs wild. You could feel overwhelmed. You could believe that danger lurks in every corner. It acknowledges your fears.
Like catastrophizing everything, like everything is going to be bad.
It can suggest that you're not tuning into your intuition. It suggests that you are unstable. Could be a lot of things. So
Jesus Christ, Jesse.
Why are you putting? So everything was great, but the outcome, you've jinxed me. You've ruined everything.
Well, no, I didn't jinx you. That's not the point.
You did this. You put your voodoo on me, and now my project's going to fail.
It's not about failure. That's the whole point. It's
all in your head. You're catastrophizing in your mind.
This is the outcome. The outcome is you're going to ride into this. You're going to go in gung ho. You're going to be going in expecting a certain result, and what you're going to get is something completely different than what you expect. That's what it means.
All right. Well, my expectations are already low, so maybe that means they'll be positive.
Like, the character of success can be many different things, right? Like, the character of success can be a plan paying off, you know? And if you look at where you came from, you know, we're talking about the 5 of staves or whatever it is, the 5 of wands or whatever card this is. The 5 of wands, where it's the youths brandishing staves, fake warfare, you know, imitation, you know. It could mean that you're gearing up for a fight that you think you understand the shape of, but which you do not understand the shape of. It doesn't mean necessarily that you have failure in your future. It means that at the end of this, you are going to have a result that is different than what you thought. And that is, you know, wild rather than, ordered, you know.
Okay.
Don't relate it too much directly to yourself. Think about it in terms of, remember, we're talking about the project. So
right.
The project's wildest dreams may take over. The project may become bigger. Like, this could be the fucking reading for Fortnite if you want to get real about it. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure. Yeah,
if you know what I'm saying, they came into the project trying to make this like base building game with all this.
I'll never forget, we all probably had access to the previews.
I literally have
like
a flag
screens.
in game.
Yeah.
From like the first day it launched.
Yeah,
and
the Beard Bros too. Yeah, we were both in the very first ever Fortnite brand deal. But yeah, like, it was a totally different game, and what character the success took was different, and even the failure will be different than you expect. So it could be either. The point is that the outcome is wild. The it's unbridled, the outcome. That's the sort of it's not illuminating, it's vexing.
Love that.
Yeah.
Just like all readings, vexing.
But doesn't that kind of recharacterize pretty much the entire thing? Like, it's kind of
I think a lot of it is mostly you trying to un-voodoo me at the last minute because you put that on me. And now when the whole thing falls apart, you're going to get a call at 2 a.m. like, Alex, Alex!
You got to understand what outcome means, right? It's not about predicting your future. It's about predicting the character of your future. That's the whole point. The point is you can read into this and, run away with it. That's kind of the, part of magic is that like, it's like shrooms where like your own vibes are kind of like part of the vibe that you're going to take with you into it. So yeah, like, you can read it and you can see immediately how it's negative, but just like life, right? Like just like anything in your life, like you have to audit it. You have to take that time to do it. And
I'm a great point, actually.
Yeah. And
I can like take mushroom trips and treat them like a tarot reading in some way.
Yeah, they really kind of are. And I really do think like magic in general is kind of like a tarot reading, in terms of carrying out the practice or carrying out the ritual. There's this sort of, how people say things are made with love and it's usually means that they actually did a good job. Like, I think that's what you got to do with this final card is like, even the card itself hitting right now in this reading is being the moon reversed in its own. It's like reverberating with itself in theme of this reading right now. And
everything
so I think
felt so structured until the very end.
And it still is very structured with this at the end because now you are feeling extremely moon reversed.
You got moon reversed, kid.
Dude, I got moon reversed in the reading before the moon reversal.
So I guess take it as a warning. Right. I guess take it as a warning to keep the vibes in control. Like, be ready to interpret wild as good.
Do some mushrooms.
Yeah. Be ready for an outcome that's unpredictable. And then it'll be up to you to control it because you're also, practicing this magic, it's still your interpretation. So I can only get you to this point. Other than this, the value of this will get you there. Does that sit well with you? Does that feel good?
Yeah. I mean, like most of these, I think most of what I'm taking away is stuff that, is probably what I want to hear. Does that make sense?
That's kind of the point.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, like you shouldn't be, there's no, objective truth to it at all. That's the whole sort of, deal. Matthysse.
Yeah.
Are you ready for a tarot reading, my guy?
Yeah, you're going to be my first ever tarot reading in my life.
You're going to be my second ever tarot reading in my life.
Hey, look at that. Yeah. Perfect. You did a great job with Jesse. I had no idea it was your first.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, let's have fun.
Okay, so let's try this again. We're going to go back to one. We're going to let Jesse's reading roll off of us. We need to take one piece of pickled ginger right now.
It's blowing away.
To refresh the taste buds of our magic sensory organs, let's call them. Yeah. That's kind of gross. Matthysse, we're going into this tarot reading right now with your intention. What is it going to be?
I got to keep it on brand. Let's do what is the nature of the lights I'm seeing in the sky?
Okay.
Are they man-made?
Yeah.
Are they reflections of myself putting something on them when they're not? Is it reflections of something else actually there? Not every single one, but there are about 2 to 3 particular I have in mind.
Is Matthysse the latest victim? Is Matthysse the latest victim?
I will take the fool.
Is he the latest victim of what's the thing where you see lights in the sky syndrome or something where you see it and then it's everywhere?
Where you see everything?
Yeah. Okay. So let's do it.
Let's see what it says.
What is going to happen with all the lights around Matthysse?
As long as I keep it in my intent, it shouldn't matter anyway, right? The cards know my intent.
Yeah.
They're up there. They're up in your brain.
They're up there.
Here we go. Okay, so just like last time, we're going to start with the significator. I don't really need to explain to you exactly what the significator is again. You understand.
No, yeah, you don't have to go through everything again.
Avatar that you're going to take. Yours is the 10 of Wands. This is a man oppressed by the weight of the 10 staves which he is carrying. So I feel like,
I mean, it's a burden of knowledge that I do not speak openly about.
Yeah. What weight says is that this is a card of many significances. Some readings cannot be harmonized. I set aside that which connects it with honor and good faith. The chief meaning is oppression simply, but it is also fortune, gain, any kind of success. And then it is the oppression of these things. It is also a card of false seeming, disguise, perfidy. The place which the figure is approaching may suffer from the rods that he carries. Success is stultified if the 9 of Swords follows. And if it is a question of a lawsuit, there will be certain loss. So basically, this is Matthysse. He's been now he has too many staves. He's seen too many UFOs. He's carrying this burden around with him. It's making him doubt himself. He has an oppressive success. And he needs
clarity.
He needs recompense and clarity. So now we're going to find out what card covers you, right? Again, this defines the vibe of what's around you. This is not the crown. This is not the character of your success. This is who's with you along the way. This is the Emperor. The Emperor has the form of the crux ansata for his scepter and globe in his left hand. He is a crowned monarch, commanding, stately, seated on a throne, the arms of which axe fronted by ram's heads. He is executive and realization, the power of this world, here clothed with the highest of its natural attributes. He is occasionally represented as seated on a cubic stone, which, however, confuses some of the issues. He is the virile power to which the Empress responds, and in this sense is he who seeks to remove the veil of Isis. Yet she remains Virgo intacta. It should be understood that this card and that of the Empress do not precisely represent the condition of married life, though this state is implied. That's funny. On the surface, as I have indicated, they stand for mundane royalty, uplifted on the seats of the mighty, but above this, there is the suggestion of another presence. They signify also, and the male figure especially, the higher kingship, occupying the intellectual throne, knowing the truth. Here is the lordship of thought rather than the animal world. Both personalities, after their own manner, are full of strange experience, but theirs is not consciously the wisdom which draws from a higher world. The Emperor has been described as A, will in its embodied form, but this is only one of its applications, and B, as an expression of virtualities contained in the absolute being. But this is fantasy.
I don't know what that is.
This is the king of knowledge. It's like the magician of intellectual, like you're the king of the magicians, kind of. You're kind of like the king of thoughts. You're like the ultimate.
I agree. Actually, I'm a king of. I'm all.
This is what's covering you.
Call me.
This is what's covering you is an occupation of the intellectual throne. I think this means that you are being scientific about it.
I have been very, 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 very specific about making sure I can eliminate every possible thing, which is why out of the dozens I've seen, I'm thinking very much about like 2 or 3 in particular that I can't really
I think you're being scientific about it, and I think it also means in the Emperor Empress way that you're kind of relying on Jess a little bit too through this as kind of to be your
she saw one of them.
Yeah, and you kind of go like, am I crazy? Am I the king of intellect, or am I crazy?
You too.
Yeah.
I do it with you. Yeah. I do it both of you. I'm like, I feel fucking crazy.
So that's the Emperor. He's covering you. Right. I think that's what's going on here. Here's who crosses you. And again, this is the character opponent of what's against you in this, which I don't know what's against you in this. Your own self, the doubt, I don't know. Just the sheer reasonableness of it being fake, you know, the scientific principles.
Like Occam's razor kind of thing.
Actually, what it is the Knight of Cups. Graceful, but not warlike. Riding quietly, wearing a winged helmet, referring to those higher graces of the imagination, which sometimes characterize this card. He too is a dreamer, but the images of the side of sense haunt him in his vision. This means arrival, approach, sometimes that of a messenger, advances, proposition, demeanor, invitation, and incitement. Incitement.
So he's my enemy?
Incitement, something coming. Maybe the temptation to say yes. Maybe the temptation to come at it from the point of view of, confirmation bias. Maybe what's against you is your own desire to know the higher graces of imagination. Arrival, approach, the messenger, maybe being
like I'm overthinking it.
Like you are over believing it. Like you're giving it too much. Like you're giving it too much.
See, I don't feel like
in your mind. Like maybe you're giving it too much importance. Maybe you're treating it like a message. Maybe the enemy is something that's coming to you as if it's doctrine. Maybe it's something.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Sounds
something,
like AI is my enemy.
coming to you with a message, something inciting you, something inviting you, let's say.
What is okay? I'll take that. I'll think on that. Sure.
Yeah. Now here's what crowns you. This is the character of your success, your ideal aim, the best that can be achieved. This is the 3 of Pentacles. A sculptor at his work in a monastery compared the design which illustrates the 8 of Pentacles. The apprentice or amateur therein has received his reward and is now at work in earnest. This means trade, skilled labor, usually, however, regarded as a card of nobility, aristocracy, renown, glory, crowns. So maybe the ideal outcome or the best that could happen is you could prove that these are aliens and then you become the guy who finally proved that aliens exist.
That's a bit far. All I want is to know I don't know, I don't need to know what they are, only that I'm not seeing a satellite because or whatever, I don't want comfort. I don't need to know it's gray aliens piloting a UFO. It could be anything that's just not typical.
But what's the success of this intent? What's going to come? The character of your success is aristocracy, nobility, renown, glory. Maybe it just means you can come talk about it on the show. Trade, skilled labor. Maybe it means it becomes a good episode instead of a sad episode. You never know.
Sure. Yeah.
Could be any of those things. Could be hard work paying off. Could be time justified. Time spent justified.
All the patience and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting how this is it is very rather thematic and how it's going.
Right? Everybody, Kelly always pulls, I told you, she pulls one tarot card at her stream every week and shows it to the chat and she explains to them what the card means. And then 10 people in the chat are like, that is crazy. That is about me. And it's like, no, it's about everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, this is the 4th card. This is beneath you. This is the foundation or basis of the matter, which has already passed into actuality. This is the circumstances as they are.
Gotcha.
Which you have made your own.
The foundation I have built.
Yeah. This is the 7 of Pentacles. A young man leaning on his staff looks intently at 7 pentacles attached to a clump of greenery on his right. One would say that these were his treasures and that his heart was there. Okay. This means a lot of exceedingly contradictory things. In the main, money, business, barter, maybe business acumen. But one reading gives altercation or quarrels. Another, innocence, ingenuity, purgation. And this is the actual 7 of Pentacles. We're not in reversed. So does that work for you? Kind of, maybe where you're at right now is crossing your T's and dotting your I's, or maybe you're hard fought because you are being stubbornly, fastidious about it. Purgation is purification or cleansing. Also, being pure, being purifying your intent, kind of coming to this place so far from a place of sheer curiosity. He's looking at these 7 pentacles in a pile and his heart is there. Maybe it's like the pureness of your intent has got you here. Maybe you really just want to know. I feel like you genuinely want to know.
Yeah, of course. It's just curiosity.
Yeah. Now we'll talk about what's behind you, which again, this means something that has come to pass and which is now on its way out. A influence of yours that is passing, something that is stopping something that has recently ended. This is the 3 of Swords. 3 swords piercing a heart, cloud and rain behind. This means removal or absence or delay or division or rupture or dispersion. And just all the things that getting stabbed in the heart could mean. Being too, just straightforward things. I think that's what it is. Absence, removal, loss, bad feeling, is what's behind you. You're coming out of something that slowed down your normal routine and made you feel bad, or some strife in your personal life that has recently cleared up, or something like that. let's say.
Sure. I can see that applying a bit. My mom got into a terrible car accident and is now on the, at last stages of healing.
Yeah, there you go. And also in that, there's all these other issues involved in medicine and government.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
And that stuff, like, dispersion, division, that could all be in this. All right. Now let's talk about what's before you, the character of the path ahead, right? This is the influence that's coming into action and will operate in the near future. Let's say that.
All right.
This is the Page of Swords reversed. A live, active figure holds a sword upright in both hands while in the act of swift walking. He is passing over rugged land, and about his way the clouds are collocated wildly. He is alert and lithe, looking this way and that as if an expected enemy might appear at any moment. But yours is reversed, which means it's the more evil side of authority. What is unforeseen, an unprepared state, a lack of vigilance, the scary type of secret police. They literally, what is, sickness maybe. So what's ahead and influence is maybe finally, I think something that would be just as validating for you, which is somebody telling you, stop looking.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
If somebody was like, hey, you need to be done now. I would be, I don't know how wouldn't that be for anybody though? If you were looking and somebody was like, hey, you need to stop.
Yeah. But it also has sickness, and it also means unforeseen, unprepared. Could mean you yourself are about to get into a point where you're gonna kind of burn yourself out with being obsessed with this. Could be over vigilant.
Possible.
You could go on like a hyper focus train down into this for a little while. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to fail. It just characterizes the influence. So maybe you're just going to like get
burn out for a little bit,
super into this at the detriment of other things. You never know.
The few times, and it's happened a few times already for the same reasons, is like I get into a hyper hole and it never leads to an answer. I just get to find things that make no sense, and I just get frustrated and I leave it alone. Yeah,
it's hard to look at tarot sometimes and think about the reversed as opposite rather than negative version.
Right. Yeah.
In this case, they literally say the more evil side of spying and vigilance and stuff like that, overseeing and authority. Maybe somebody's going to call the cops on you. You never know.
I hope not.
Yeah. You never know.
If that happens, damn dude, tarot is real.
Or maybe you're going to have to call the cops on somebody. Maybe somebody's going to figure out where you live based on the pictures of your house that you sent. You never know. There's a million ways.
I don't have any out there.
There's a million ways it could go. Let's put it that way.
Sure. Yeah. No. It's interesting.
But that's what's ahead, and let's distinguish that pretty strongly from the self card. Right. This is the self. This characterizes you in regard to finding out what's happening with these lights in your sky. And this is the 5 of Cups. A dark, cloaked figure, and it's reversed. A dark, cloaked figure looking sideways at 3 prone cups. 2 others stand upright behind him. A bridge is in the background, leading to a small keep or holding. This is normally a card of loss, but something remains over. 3 have been taken, but 2 are left. It's a card of inheritance, patrimony, and transmission, but not corresponding to expectations. Some people think it's a card of marriage, but not without bitterness or frustration. However, that is normal. Reversed means news. It means alliances. It means affinity. It means consanguinity, ancestry, return, and false projects.
Okay.
Do you know what consanguinity means?
No.
That means the same blood. That means like relatives, news, alliances.
Okay. And that's the self card.
Might mean tap into your roots. It might mean let your family in. It might mean reach out to your brother. It might mean a million different things. But that's characterizing you right now. That's like to use the exact words just so you can kind of get this exactly right. signifies himself. That is the significator, whether the person or thing shows its position or attitude in the circumstances. So in the circumstances having to do with finding out the UFOs, something specific to the UFOs is going to have to do with consanguinity, as in ancestry, as in blood, or an ally, or maybe somebody will help you, or you need a partner to keep you sane, or, there's a lot of ways to look at it.
All right. Yeah, no, I'll take it all in. It's interesting what hit and what was a little confusing.
Yeah.
But no fool card, so I'll take it.
Well, you still got 3 left.
Yeah. You can still be, your future could be a fool. I'm waiting for that last fool card.
Dude, yeah.
Your next one, great. Your next one is the house. Okay. The house is, again, your situation, your environment, right?
Sure.
Your position in life, the influence of immediate friends. It's the 6 of Swords. A ferryman carrying passengers in his punt to the further shore. The course is smooth, and seeing that the freight is light, it may be noted that the work is not beyond his strength. Journey by water, route way, envoy, commissary, expedient, easy, simple. It's not a big deal. Maybe this isn't that big of a deal. Maybe this is easy work to figure out this answer. Maybe you don't need to work this hard. Maybe your situation is simple, or, an envoy or a commissionary, like, I don't know exactly like what that means, other than, in relating to a process, other than that the process will be easy. Or commissionary, right, is like commissioning someone, giving somebody a task. You could be delegating, asking somebody to help you even. Maybe, it could be any of those things. Okay.
Yeah, I can see how that relates in a number of different ways with the situation, especially with, like, if I'm overthinking a lot of it and it's like it's already there and easy. And it's simple as meditating is the answer.
This is your current environment too. So this could be
well, that's where I'm to give in, like, that's where my where I'm currently stuck. It's a lot of, like, there's no, like, the answers in, like, research papers, it all leads to dead ends. But I was about to say to you literally before we started recording this episode today, I understand correlation does not equal causation. However, it is interesting that when I stopped meditating, I stopped seeing things in the sky, and then I started again, and they started up again. Right. And I understand correlation doesn't equal causation. Maybe I'm meditating and I'm seeing lights and I'm just more cognizant of them or whatever. But I just do, like, I have, like, Flight Radar 24. I have 3 satellite apps on my phone. Right. I, cross check about Starlink launches and all this stuff. And, like, if we want to say, if it's like I'm overdoing it, just meditate. It's as simple as that. Yeah. Maybe that's what it means.
Or it means, the things that are helping you are making, like, telling people about this and
sure,
asking people to sound, hey, watch this, look at this, tell me, am I crazy? Can you, like, are you able to look at the flight records of XYZ? Like, maybe just looking a little further will make the task less complicated. Maybe you'll get an answer very fast, for example, or, if you ask the right person or something like that.
I like it.
Yeah. That's 8. Number 9 is your hopes. This is characterizes, again, like your hopes or fears. What you are kind of thinking might happen is the Knight of Pentacles. He rides a slow, enduring, heavy horse to which his own aspect corresponds. He exhibits his symbol, but does not look therein. This means utility, serviceableness, interest, responsibility, rectitude, all on the normal and external plane. You're hoping for a reliable, solid answer.
Correct.
That's what I think this means. That's what I think it's clearly
my deepest of hopes. Like, I would love
aspiring to a straightforward, reliable, simple thing that's not like a mundane, even if it's aliens, you just want to know yes or no, like based on something really, really actually definitive. Right?
Yeah, I just want to know. Like I said, even if it's something I cannot comprehend, I'd like to know that I don't know or can't know or whatever, instead of sitting there and trying to compare flight records and, all that other stuff.
Yep.
And that's what's been frustrating about the ones that are confusing to me, because it almost is like purposely like, what am I? Like, it's moves weird enough. The one I always think about is the one that came through the trees really quickly, right to the clearing where it stopped, hovered, and slowly rose up to the top of the tree line again over the course of 2 or 3 minutes. That's one I saw with Jess. And then when it went behind the trees, I never saw it again.
Right.
And like, that is not definitive enough for anything.
Right.
And we tried to get it on camera, but it was like through the window and super blurry. And if it was so high up in the trees, if you go outside, the trees were too tall to see what you're even looking at. So it was just, like, it's just like that, those little things are like, you can't really fucking tell. I might be something, but it's not something, it's, yeah. I would love a solid answer so I can stop thinking about like, what is it?
So let's see what's going to happen. Let's look at the outcome. Let's see what's going to characterize the outcome. This is the 10 of Pentacles. A man and woman beneath, and think about how this relates to everything else that we
a lot of pentacles and swords.
A man and woman beneath an archway.
Man, but
yes,
yeah,
exactly. A man and woman beneath an archway which gives entrance to a house and domain. They are accompanied by a child who looks curiously at 2 dogs accosting an ancient personage seated in the foreground. This means gain, riches, family matters, archives, extraction, the abode of a family. So this might mean that your true outcome is going to be one of family bounty rather than grand satisfaction. Like maybe, if you get the mundane, quick explanation of that your house facilitates for you, and you overcome the hypervigilance ahead of you, maybe you'll reach a very solid, unsatisfying, mundane answer. You'll find peace in it and it will settle your home and you will find bounty. That's one way to
I can definitely, can see that for sure.
Or it could mean that you're going to get rich from this, or it means that you're going to have a fucking kid as a result of this. You never know.
No, please no, unless it's a star child.
Yeah, that's possible, but it could mean a lot of things. So, there you go. I hope that was satisfying. Like in general, I felt like
it was interesting.
I in general felt like that was much more satisfying than the horoscopes were. And I know it took a little bit. I know it took a little bit longer time than the horoscopes, but I feel like we got a lot out of every step of that in terms of personal relation to it. And I don't know. I feel like I was at least connecting with something real inside of you guys while we were talking about it. I felt like we were getting at least you were really being vulnerable about your intent on the board.
I had wands in mine. Where again? Was it myself?
You had 10 of wands was you.
Yeah, you had 10 wands inside you.
Was there any other wands or was that the only wands?
I literally just reshuffled.
No, you're fine then.
Yeah, I just reshuffled the deck, but
I can re-listen to the episode and figure it out
go
myself.
back and see. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what a tarot reading does exactly in terms of auditing like your ability magic wise or whatever. I don't really want to characterize it that way, but I do think that if you can get down with it, that it's a really good step on understanding the way that you have a role in magic, like your participation in it. It's not like
magic is perception, baby.
It's not like Photoshop. Like you have to believe it.
We'll do all again, chaos magic. This will come up as well, but you're in that, like, even if like you even believing or hearing things in a tarot that stick with you or whatever changes the way you will then perceive the situation from then on. And in that way, even if there's no real magic in that way, if it's permanently changed the way you move in on a project or perceive something, is that not exactly what it was supposed to be doing in this magic actually?
Exactly.
Right? Like,
exactly. And also consider, like, that was like I said, those are the first 2 tarot readings I've ever done. I've never done anything close to a tarot reading before, really, for anyone. And like my reading of that would have been different than, say, Sentel's reading of that, or say, a reading of that we did right after watching randomly, like, I don't know, the movie Dunkirk or some shit like that. Just some random thing could just get in there and fuck with our perception of those things, depending on how emotionally. But right now in this situation, that's what we got. And I felt like it was a pretty good result. But to wrap
But that's
up
also
this
part of magic is like the idea is like the atmosphere in which you do it.
100%.
Magic is perception. And if something can change how you perceive your own reality, then that is magic.
literally
Period.
justification for the vibes. Like I care about the
Correct.
vibes.
That's really what it is.
Yeah, I care about the vibes for this exact reason. And I think that they're important. I think about what song is playing in my car sometimes when people come upon me. All right. Great. To wrap this up, here's a little quote for Jesse to read from A.E. Waite, who wrote all that stuff himself. For anyone who just learned how to do a tarot reading, this is a nice little wrap-up quote here.
Great facility may be obtained by this method in a comparatively short time, allowance being always made for the gifts of the operator, that is to say, his faculty of insight, talent, or developed, and it is the special advantage of being free from all complications.
So I think this is like a good idea, like a good piece of advice for all magic, which is that like, it's not objective, it's subjective. So the more you do it, the reason there's like ritual, the reason there's practice, the reason there's repetition in magic, and the reason you have to pass it on and do it over and over, and the reason we even have to share, like, last week we were talking about how you think about magic, and we were talking about, I was talking about functionalist magic, and it was about privacy, right? And you can think about how anything outside of doing things in your own way, like we have all our own little secret things that we do, right? That we believe that are not necessarily sensical, but like doing them in secret is the only true magic. If you share it with anyone, you have to dilute it a little bit to let somebody else's understanding of it in. But as the trade-off of that, you create a situation where you can then, like a recipe almost, where, you don't really do a recipe the same every time, but if you cook the same fucking recipe a million times, pretty soon it's going to be real. As long as the recipe is good, it's going to be some good ass food every time,
Yeah,
and
when you learn your own little bits of the recipe that you prefer and it makes it go a certain way. And it's even, I think we talked about it last week, or Jesse may have mentioned it last week, where the lucky t-shirt. You're wearing a lucky t-shirt, and when you're wearing your lucky t-shirt, you don't think anything bad's going to happen to you that day. And even if something kind of bad happens, not unless it's like catastrophic, but like something kind of bad that might annoy you one day, maybe if you're wearing your lucky t-shirt, you're already in a mindset where you're like, that's not a big deal, and you just overlook it.
Exactly.
Like, and that not magic in and of itself. And like, but there's no crackling lightning and sparkles, because reality is subjective. Your reality, Alex and Jesse, is different than my reality. Even if we've experienced similar things, we experience a live show together, but we experience a different live show individually.
Yeah.
And
it's intimate.
Reality.
Yeah, it's really weird.
It's subjective. Yeah.
And just to add to that, I'll also include a link to online versions of both the deck and the key in the show notes. If you want to try this yourself, it's pretty easy to like do the readings and stuff. And, just in case you're wondering, out there listening, yes, any of those really fancy tarot decks that you bought at a convention, even though you didn't really know how to use them and you haven't opened it yet, you can use all those decks for this as long as there's 78 cards in it, it's probably this tarot deck. And unless you're in you're at a weird ass convention, you probably bought
78 cards. Damn.
Yeah, you probably bought the real.
Than that.
No, it's 78, but you probably bought the real tarot deck.
There's also different ways of doing tarot too. You don't have to do 11. Some people can do 5 or 3. It depends on what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah. And yeah, some people, there's ways to do it with just the major arcane. There's all kinds of, it's just cartomancy. It's just a set for cartomancy. But that one that I did just now was like, kind of like the OG sort of one that most people recognize, I think. But yeah, I'm going to give you the link to all that stuff so you guys can use that. And if you, like I said, if you have one of those artsy decks, my wife has the Crow Tarot deck that she shows that's like beautiful art with crows on every card that has all the symbolism in it. Cool. Really cool. But now, just to switch up the happy-go-lucky vibe, here's Matthysse again with another quote from Agent A. Whitney Brown and the memo that I found inside of the Chilluminati magazine.
Wow. Like all culture, magic flows freely, grows, accumulates, mixes, and twists. It's not just one thing. This is the story of the magic that came here from the old world, as that was already the story of the magic of the new world. More and more being magical to me gets harder and harder to distinguish from simply having a breadth of deeply internalized learned knowledge. To me, becoming this and being this is exactly what a witch or wizard is. Just taking the secret knowledge they found and fucking running with it. Maybe that's why witches are the oldest and most powerful thing there is. Maybe that's how new things can become the oldest thing there is too.
What do you guys think he means by that?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's all perception, baby.
Yeah,
I think that it's about an emotionality rather than wave your hand in magic. I think it's about the idea of taking your own personal power and running with it, and it not being something that like I cast dispel, but instead using your like to be, you know, a tarot card reader or fortune teller or, you know, a witch and wizard and or warlock. Yeah, there's some audacity you have to have in yourself to do that, to like step outside the norm and own it and experience life that way, which I think it's saying like, yeah, no, you're big balls in right now because, you know, not only is there ridicule involved, there's also the idea of like the same thing that I do every time we talk about Matthysse UFOs. I'm like, okay, bud. All right, sure. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Like
I think I'm calling it now. When we do Madame Blavatsky, and it will be a multi-part deep dive. Jesse, you're going to love her. I think for the most part, because what you just said embodies her to have the balls to go out there and her say she is these things and has these ascended masters who likely weren't even real, but didn't matter because the perception that they were real was enough to carry the influence. And
she built it up.
Sorry. Go ahead, Alex. I know you're going to say something. And
that was good. I was with you on that. I mean, it's exactly, it's exactly what he's talking about. Like last time we kind of underlined the idea of magic being about you, right? Like the person, or maybe just you, the brain, or just you, the mind inside the brain, or whatever the intent inside your head.
Thought that realizes your thought in the brain being, you know, like what is you?
Right. But do you guys think that like the depth and the complexity of introspection, right, that comes from doing something like a tarot reading, like how complex and how deeply you have to think about how you fold it into interpretations for yourself to understand, right? Like, do you think that depth and complexity, or even maybe the accuracy or the power of the reading, is ever enhanced by more enlightened and intellectually stimulated people? Like, if you are more cultured and you have more avenues for interpretation, do you think that you are more magical intrinsically by having internalized more knowledge and avenues for understanding symbols and information?
I mean, isn't that the base conceit that if you have knowledge, accessing the unknown knowledge is easier?
Yeah.
Right?
Like, because you know what you don't know, right?
Yeah. You're willing to it's not just the chutzpah of being someone who puts yourself out there, but it's sort of the audacity of, I understand I don't know a lot, but I want to know so much that I'm willing to go research the knowledge that people don't want me to look at. Like that kind of.
Yes.
Exactly. So does that mean the older the magic, or the further that you can trace magic back, like a specific concept, does that make it better? Does it make it like stronger? The further back people have known about it?
And I think the answer is yes for both the logical answer and the magical answer. Obviously, magical answer ritual, it's been around forever, but also logically it makes sense because the longer something's been around, the more it has a chance to seep its way into the greater subconscious, the worldwide culture. So in that, it becomes more powerful because more minds are aware of it. If something's lasting that long, then there's clearly a reason.
I think that reason is literally, to some people, the very definition of magic.
Exactly.
Yeah. But last week we described American magic as a melting pot, in the same way that America is a melting pot, pretty much exactly pound for pound for the same reasons. And really, it's such a melting pot that there's no way we could ever really cover the entirety of the American magic tradition unless I wrote this episode in several volumes. But right now, I touched on this briefly last week, but by looking at American folk magic through the very specific lens of Appalachian Mountain Magic tradition, let's find out what being a melting pot of magic really means, as Jesse reads us a quote from an article in the magazine called "Go, Go, Granny Women," on a topic that wasn't nearly as solidified or academically regarded as it is today, back in 1987. Okay.
I'm sorry. 1987 had a magazine called Go Go Granny Women.
This is an article in the Chilluminati magazine about something having to do with magic.
A real magazine. Right.
And it's called Go Go Granny Women.
And you want to know some magic about the Chilluminati magazine?
Yeah.
Somebody on the Reddit thought it was real. And in that case,
they were right.
Real?
Damn. Hey, Katie, do you have a grandma? Oh, the Chilluminati are sorry to hear of Ethel's recent passing. We're not so sorry. We're just sorry. That's right, Katie. Pretty much everyone has to have had a special granny. But if you happen to be Appalachian Mountain folk, a granny's not just Ethel or the mom of your mom. They're also magic. No, Katie, your eyes don't deceive you. We said magic with a K. Granny women are the central figures of an entire Appalachian magic tradition, based mainly around healing, rituals, and something called divination. Look it up in a library! ! But the big reason we're talking about it today is to show you how what we learned on page 20 about how modern magic is a mix of beliefs and practices dating as far back as Sumeria and stretching all across the Western world from Egypt to Greece to medieval Europe continues on from the old world right into the new, aka the good old modern day 1987 US of A.
And that goes on for a while. Yada, yada, yada.
Oh, these are prime Reagan years too.
Yeah, this is big Reagan. I think the hippies were probably real upset at this time. Here's a little bit later in the same article from Matthysse.
And tribes like the Cherokee and the Choctaw and the Shawnee had elements of their own spirituality and folklore that fit together with old world lore surprisingly well. For example, what to the Cherokee were the ageless little laughing valley people of folklore were easily understood by Irish, Scottish, and German people as a cousin to their much more familiar fairies. And in both cultures, these beings were tied closely to the powers at the center of their magic. What a team up, right, Katie? And so in Appalachia, the Scottish and the Irish found a place that felt similar enough to home that their folkways could adapt pretty well. And then it merged with the magic of local native tribes. And then German settlers arrived and added their own style of medicinal and agricultural focused astrology. And suddenly a new kind of magic emerged. Sprinkle in a little Christianity, add a generous splash of African American hoodoo, toss in a huge amount of craft pickle making knowledge, and suddenly the modern day granny woman is born with a tradition going back hundreds, if not thousands of years. That's one old granny, right, Katie? Doesn't it make you want to just run up to Ethel and give her a great big flower on her gravestone? Again, the Chilluminati extended our deepest sympathies for your very recent loss, Katie. It was brave of you to still come to camp.
And now from the 1987 Chilluminati magazine supplementary workbook, let's finish out today's episode with a round of what does that remind you of? A multiple choice / discussion and comparison game where you guys read the description of a concept or figure from Appalachian Mountain Magick and then quiz yourselves and others on how it relates to similar concepts from our mundane world to see how magic really is all around us all the time. Does that sound good?
Sure.
Yeah.
So first, we're going to read a little bit about granny women with Jesse.
A medicine woman who often treats small medical issues holistically, performs simple divining or divining rituals, or assists mothers and academic medical doctors with childbirth and postpartum care. Granny women been known to perform other needed services around town in both conventional and unconventional ways, like blessing the livestock or the land before planting crops. Granny women receive their knowledge through extensive training, and the effects of their care on the patient's psychology in crisis often baffles more traditional physicians. Granny women are sometimes seen as a type of witch who practices magic with a K, but many also carry no claim of magic with them and just think of what they do as simple, mundane folk ways.
So those are granny women. And just to give you an example, I was reading like an anecdote from one of the articles about this. And they were saying like, as an example of this, like during like a midwife type scenario, there's, painkillers and stuff like that. But there's also like this granny woman handed her patient, her husband's hat to hold to deal with the pain. And it brings her husband's presence into the room, even though he's not there. And it soothes her mentally. And that doesn't necessarily need to be magic to work, but that's like where her head is at and the types of things that she does in addition to more straightforward things. So what does that remind you of? I'm going to give you 4 choices and we're going to see how it relates to all of them. A farming app. B, a nurse. C, painkillers. And D, a scholar. So how do granny women relate to these concepts?
To all 4?
Yeah. A farming app. Painkillers. Which one do they most closely relate to? Like if you think about a farming app, right? A farming app will tell you what to do, right? It'll give you the weather. It'll give you things that are going to be coming like an almanac would. It's going to teach you things that you need to do to get your own success, right? So in some ways, a granny woman is kind of like a farming app. In other ways, a granny woman is kind of like a nurse. A nurse helps you. They're not the doctor, but they're there. They assist you. They are there for your care. They have little things that they do that help the bigger things happening. Right. Another one, painkillers. Like I said, there's a mental element to this that makes it easier to endure things, even if they're not directly addressing the thing. And D, they're scholars because they are real repositories of knowledge culturally that kind of are walking college classes on how to be granny women. They're just bursting at the seams with useful information to teach you. So what do you think? Farming app, nurse, painkillers, or scholars? Granny women are most like...
I would say scholars, because a scholar would be all of those things as well.
Okay, great.
Right? Especially of old,
Yeah. No right answers, but I want you to think about all of them, so I think it's kind of cool. The next one is something called a dumb supper, which Matthysse is going to tell us about.
Okay. A dumb supper is called a dumb supper not because it's stupid, but because it's quiet. These love divination rituals were mostly performed by young women hoping to find out about the man that they would eventually marry, but sometimes men could attend as well, or hide in the hallway for reasons you'll soon understand. It often involves steps like setting the table backwards with strangely made dishes, chairs placed at the table reversed, and the knife and fork switched. And the meal is often served dessert first as well. If absolutely no one makes any sound, it is said that at midnight, mysterious spirits or new visitors will make themselves known to those at the table. And if one suddenly sits next to you, it is surely the spirit of your future husband. However, this comes with a warning, as if you don't take the dumb supper seriously, there are many stories of people missing important signs leading to their own deaths instead.
Wow. Damn!
So that's what a dumb supper is.
Either find out who you love or die. Figure it out.
It seems like the European version of the dumb supper focuses more on weird food, and the American version focuses more on the weird, like, manners. But they both kind of have a little bit of both. But what does that remind you of? A, spin the bottle. B, romance novels. C, Tinder profiles. Or D, something I'm going to call cootie catchers, but which everybody calls something different. I'm going to just do it for you so you can see it in my hands. It's a little paper fortune-telling square that we used to play on the playground with each other that had numbers on the inside, and you would unfold it and read the fortune.
All those, but yeah.
So
I'd say that.
Yeah? Not Tinder profiles?
I don't think that's the same.
What if I told you that what people were doing a lot of the times at these were pranking the girls by hiding outside, or like that maybe that's part of it?
But yeah. Well, what do you say, Jesse? I'm curious what your thought is.
This is interesting because the thing about this that I really am focusing on is the order in which you eat for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I like the idea of doing it in reverse, and it's like there's something like everything you mentioned, be it Tinder profiles or all the different like gimmicks. They all have some sort of weird, function involved that really does nothing other than make it special for a reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like spin the bottle, right? Like,
Yeah.
it relates to this because you're creating a contrived situation where you
Yes, that's what I mean. Yes.
you can interact with your sort of mischievous, promiscuous feelings, and maybe get to act on them a little bit. And it doesn't, it's like bad vibes free. It's like, well, it said we have to kiss. The romance novels and Spin the Bottle kind of does this too. Actually, all of them kind of do this. Romance novels, it's like a template for how to be. It's like aspirational. It's like getting you to think about who's good for you, but it's also reinforcing like societal norms about sex and like unhealthy thoughts about sex and like what makes a good partner and stuff like that. So that's what romance novels are doing there. Tinder profiles, like I said, you can misrepresent yourself and manipulate a courtship situation in a way that's unnatural. And obviously cootie catchers, again, it's a similar thing. Order from chaos, a sort of memeable, sort of almost like a tarot-esque thing. I would say in our day, definitely the replacement for tarot on the playground.
But with that said, they all have that weird kind of like, doing the little paper, whatever. I'm not sure what that's called. The cootie catcher.
I'm going with the cootie catcher.
Yeah, that's what he calls it.
I'm going with cootie catcher.
But that has like a whole, it's almost like you're doing like a Naruto finger ninja thing. Same. And so you're doing like a layer of stuff, like everything involved with all these things you mentioned, going back to the idea of eating the food in reverse and being quiet. There is a layer of ritualism to it that really truly does nothing as far as I can tell. It's there to
in a pragmatic way, unless you consider again, like the granny women, the mental.
Sure. But it's the idea, going back to the whole, like, you open it X number of times, then you flip the piece of paper back to reveal, like, that's all. Theater. Really, it's all part of the mystery of it, but does it do anything? Not really, but it adds levels to it.
Eternally debatable. Yeah. Eternally debatable. Right. Okay. So, you guys are going with cootie catchers. Is that it?
That's what I go
Yeah,
with.
it seems like the most accurate.
Dumb suppers are like cootie catchers. Put that on a tweet. The next one is about dowsers, and Jesse's going to read it.
Any type of Appalachian. Any type of Appalachian witching is associated with men. It was probably the water witchery of dowsing, which, if you never heard of it before, is mostly just the practicing of magic with the intent of locating water, oil, and other such precious items underground. That'd be the dowsing rods, right?
Dowsing, yeah, exactly that.
Most commonly, this is done by holding a pendulum over a map or locating a willow branch, probably with a V shape on one end, and walking the grounds of a particular area yourself using the branch or witch stick as a guide through some physical feedback it appears to provide in your hands. There's no consensus on the principle by which this is supposed to work, but usually explanations involve some description of the witch stick being able to tap into the natural rivers of magical power or ley lines that intersect the planet.
So, yeah, dowsing, it's like, if you don't really understand what it is, you probably seen somebody walk around with like a little hanger or something or two things in their hands that cross. That's another common one. Mm-hmm. But the one that I'm talking about is where you hold two ends of a thing and then the one end is sticking out. That's the kind of the witch stick thing that I'm talking about. Yeah, you use it to find water. You like walk around like a metal detector and you go here and you dig. But what does that remind you of? Fucking data, like info, that you can get from instruments or surveying or whatever. Mm-hmm. B, a workers' union, as in like a way to protect yourself as a skilled laborer. C, local bird watching, as in a hobby that lets you become familiar with your surroundings. Or D, anti-anxiety medication, as in something that lets you feel like you have power over something that is completely out of your control.
again, I see how it could be all of those things. And on some level, I am more inclined to be like the skilled labor one,
Workers union.
Yeah, like it's very clear that this is a thing that you would do to establish what you're doing compared to someone else.
Right, like as in maybe there's a less sexy way to find water underground that you might know about, but that
but doing it this way seems like I just know. I know the stick.
Or you're maybe like trying to protect the true your meal ticket.
Yeah,
because if somebody else learned.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, again, that's where the lines blur between like magic and like stage magic. Is it's like intent to deceive is still intent.
Yeah.
Right. And moving your hands really fast is still your will applied. Right. So, I don't know. And you're leading people to believe something is different than it is, or inviting them to another mindset. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, that's Dowsers. So what are you guys going with? You said workers union. What do you think, Matthysse?
Workers union, huh? What?
Solid Snake? Is that you?
Data.
Data?
I'm going with data.
Yeah, it's interesting. Data. Like, data is not accurate, right? It's way more accurate than walking around in the woods with a fucking stick. But what data is it's sort of like an approximation that gives you confidence to make a guess, right? And instead of having that at your fingertips of like a piece of paper that says it's probably here, just walk around and coming up with your own, like, maybe you're not even aware that it's not working or that it isn't working on a principle that actually is real, but just using this system as a substitute for real information is kind of an interesting thing to think about in terms of magic. Just a couple left here. Next one is Haints, for Matthysse to read.
Okay. What's it called? Haints?
Haints.
Haints are not so much a magical practice as they are powerful ghost stories steeped in local or family tradition, which are passed down through the same channels as the granny woman folkways. Just like scary stories and hauntings all around the world, Haints help acquaint people with the unknown and give them the bravery to overcome real scary events in their lives. But just like the word haint itself isn't quite the same as haunt, the ghost stories of the mountain folk seem to take on their own sort of homespun American flavor and often take on enough power that they seem to resurrect the people and places that the stories are about into telling, preserving and enshrining them for generations.
Yeah. So these are like super ghost stories that are like really close to the oral tradition of like families or friend groups. Mm-hmm. Like, I know everybody has something like this in their life already, just like as ghost stories, but I like the Haint version because it's like they have a word for it there. It's a little bit extra folksy. It's kind of just like saying pop instead of soda, right? But even when you're in California, right, and you hear somebody say pop instead of soda, and you're somebody who says pop instead of soda, suddenly there's something happening between you two that connects you in a way that you can't be born into. You can't change. But yeah, that's Haints. It's like, the ghost that grandma saw 30 years ago, or the old mill has a guy that shows up in the window that everybody knows about. That's this old foreman that everybody hated. Here's a picture of him, right? Those are Haints.
There's even that kind of thing in the military.
Oh, everywhere.
One of my buddies who's was a Marine, he was telling me about, and I had read this story elsewhere, but he was telling me at a certain base at like really late at night, if a soldier in World War II garb comes up and asks for a light for a cigarette, you just light his cigarette and he then walks on and goes. You just give it to him and he goes on. I'm like, that's crazy. Like, that's like everybody knows. So everybody knows if you're on night watch.
Complicated
in a World War.
Thing.
And there's like stories, countless stories of this World War II vet who comes up and just asks for, like, you got a light. You light a cigarette for him and he leaves.
So scary. So scary. But what does that remind you of, guys? A family photo album with memories of people and places preserved for all time. B, Doctor Who on BBC, which children watch with their family to experience scary shit in a safe place behind the couch with their family around them. C, harmless pranks similar to Doctor Who, just scary situations in real life that you play on each other in ways where there's no stakes so that you get used to being in situations where you're surprised and things go wrong. Or D, video essays, which are constructed to guide you along a very, very specific deep dive look at one specific thing. You know, if you look at the ghost of the old factory, all of a sudden you're going to be pulling out the fucking city fucking records to find out who worked at the fucking mill. And then you go down there and you're learning all about the fucking family that came to West Virginia in 1805 who started the goddamn mill. And then you're looking back to see what country they came from. You know, it's a video essay, a ghost story to get to the bottom of it. So, what do Haints remind you of, guys?
I'm going family photo.
Family photo album.
And here's the reason. Because I approach, you know, using the ghost example. Yeah, I don't think all hauntings are one fucking thing.
Right.
I think a lot of them are a collective subconscious, a collective belief that is basically just imprinted and kind of it keeps this energy or whatever fucking going. It's a lot like poltergeists are the activity of like a lot of what people say. You look at Jeff the Mongoose as well, very similar. I think a lot of it is like this collective belief running so long, being so strong, like the energy's feeding into the environment around it that even if this guy never existed, he fucking exists now.
Yeah, exactly. Slenderman, Toomgus, Gritty, all of those guys. Yeah. Next one, last
Jesse
one.
Didn't get to answer.
Oh,
honestly, I like kind of agree with you, so I'm going to let that one go. Yeah. I'm kind of on Team Matthysse.
I'm on Team Doctor Who.
Rarity.
I'm on Team Doctor Who. I'm fully Doctor Who pilled for Disney Plus Doctor Who, you guys.
Well, it's you know, like it's shaping your reality right now,
dude.
Damn, dude.
You have no idea how meta like that's going to seem, especially because this is coming out after the episode, which is supposed to like redefine Doctor Who for a generation of viewers this week. So we'll see. But speaking of doctors, to close us out today, and I always planned on making that segue, by the way, just so you know, the Yarb doctor is the last thing that Jesse's going to talk to us about today.
Yarb doctors, also known as herb doctors or nature doctors or rubbing doctors, that's the kind of doctor
I'm one of those myself.
Are sort of like granny women, and indeed there are both male and female Yarb doctors, but unlike granny women, are almost entirely associated specifically with herbal formulas, rubs, and ointments, which sometimes include bizarre extra ingredients like cow manure, tobacco smoke, or alcohol-soaked cotton balls. These are often so memorable that they become part of a specific doctor's patented repertoire, with Yarb doctors historically occupying a role you might describe as a knowledgeable, good-faith snake oil salesman, and common things like root beer or using clove oil for a toothache can still trace their roots back to these early Appalachian folk pharmacists.
So Yarb doctors are kind of like the thing that prepped us for big pharma, kind of. Because I guess apparently this area, so seriously, this was like the breadbasket of drugs at one point was Appalachia because all the plants and stuff that grew there were like all the American exports that like people were buying for medicinal purposes and for like weird scientific purposes across the sea. Cause it was like a real jank time for this type of stuff. And people were just trying shit, right? So these Yarb doctors, right, are like genuinely like herb dudes making like, you know, potions and stuff that can like make you feel better and trying to give you things that are really going to help. But what happened with these things, and root beer is a good example, is like root beer was a medicine and people, you know, to make it more palatable to people taking it, you know, would put in addition to the roots and the water, a little sugar and a little soda water. And people were like, this is fucking good. And like, that just became like a drink. Right. And so now this Yarb doctor is like rich because he made a tasty drink and people are buying the drink, but it's like a business set up for medicine. And now you're tempting these motherfuckers to become like hucksters almost.
And then capitalism does what capitalism does.
So it's not like they like Yarb doctors are cranks. Like there's probably Yarb doctors today that are real legit and have really great formulas.
But it opens the door to a huge temptation that in a world where if all you care about is yourself, why would you not take it?
And it's a trope in our fiction. This type of person, the snake oil salesman, like
Cyberpunk is built on that kind of shit.
Yeah, Cyberpunk, or like if you played Red Dead Redemption, there's a snake oil salesman guy in the first one who
Jensen, the Deus Ex, right? They was all meant like the mechanical bits are supposed to be like save humanity, but then became cheap ones, expensive ones, all that other shit.
Exactly. It's not like fine thinking and goodwill. It's now just people trying to
make another Deus Ex game, you cowards.
I bet they're going to. That Deus Ex is not dead, bro. It's too big to fail. But let me ask you, what does that remind you of? A, CBD gummies. B, Diet Coke. C, premium branded HDMI cables. And D, Animal Crossing.
Wow.
I kind of want to go all of the above.
I mean, it does feel like an all of the above, more this one than the previous ones, for sure.
Yeah.
What does that say about us as people, as humans? That the Yarb doctor is like, we get this. We're Americans. Yes, we understand the Yarb doctor.
It means our whole entire economy is based on scamming people.
I'm going with premium branded HDMI cables because I think it's a perfect analogy.
I wanted to go with Diet Coke.
I feel like premium HDMI cables work because there are actual good premium HDMI cables out there that are better than other HDMI cables, but
but not to the degree.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It became over inundated with technical, non-harmful solutions that have muddied some pretty straightforward waters, aka, does this go on my PlayStation and does it go on my TV? Why am I presented with 8 price points with that task?
Because you present somebody with like 6 tech words that they don't understand, they're going to think it's better and you can charge ridiculous amounts.
Yeah. What do you think about the Yarb doctor? All of the above? Is that where you guys are both going?
Yeah.
I want to go diet. I want to go all the above. If that's an option.
Yeah. If you're letting me do that, then yeah.
Yep.
You can, but like, is one jumping out?
I say Diet Coke is like that to me, where a company just is like,
it's
I
fat.
slap diet on it and we remove a bad thing, but don't tell them about the other things that we put in there.
Right.
Then we will just trick people.
Yeah. Or Animal Crossing, it's like you're not really being responsible. You're not really like doing tasks, but you are kind of, if you believe it.
It satisfies that part of the brain.
If you believe you're doing tasks, you definitely are. I don't know. That's kind of the vibe. But yeah, there you go. Katie, Jesse, and Matthysse. 2-parter intended to just barely wet the whistle of those craving an introspective look into the American folk magic tradition, as well as the larger history of magic and its role in the cultural development of reality. Done. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks so much for buying our merch at theyeti.com/Chilluminati and supporting us at patreon.com/ChilluminatiPod. I hope Katie, wherever you are, I hope you grew into a beautiful, well-adjusted young woman. And I'll have Matthysse close us out today with one more piece from the memo of Agent A. Whitney Brown. That is right here. Some final words for us today on our Magic 101 course. Not even like Magic 99 course.
Yeah. Originally, I was going to write a lot more than this after spending so much of our time and money looking into it, but in the end, I think I'll just hide all the rest of this shit somewhere out there in the archives in case forces beyond my understanding need someone else to find them. On the topic of magic, yes, it's real, but other than this next thing I'm going to say, I think I finally decided that trying to formalize it any further only serves to dilute my statement's pure magical power, and I'm leaving it open to interpretation on purpose. The goal of the Chilluminati should always and forever only be to create as many different kinds of witches and wizards across as many different forms of magic as possible until we perish in the trying. The rest will sort itself out.
Damn. And that's it. Magic.
Thank you so much,
the Guide to Magic in America from Chilluminati 99. Thank you for doing this with me. And if you want to come see the quiz, we had an agent recover the magazine and go put that on Reddit. It might already be there. I don't know how that's sorted out, but the quiz from last week should be there in a way that you can read and try and do so you can find out your own sort of spread on the magic chart. Thank you guys so much for listening. Get ready for some more crazy magic stuff. And,
well, yeah, I'm excited.
I'll post, all this stuff on a Patreon post so you guys can go look at it. So, just go, before this episode goes live, I'll make sure that post is up there so you guys can read pages and pages and pages and pages of stuff about this that I've got. So I'm sure it'll be there. I'm sure it'll be pages and pages, and I'm sure that you guys will all be reading that for real, in not your imaginations, real soon. For sure.
Awesome.
Definitely not something weird about this. Do not pay attention to it. This is a secret. Don't investigate it.
Goodbye, everybody. Anyway, me and my wife were sitting outside indulging on our porch one night, enjoying ourselves. I needed to go to the bathroom, so I stepped back inside, and after a few moments, I hear my wife go, "Holy shit, get out here." So I quickly dash back outside, and she's looking up at the sky in awe. I look up too, and there's a perfect line of dozen lights traveling across the sky.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.